Question 1. Scenario based. Mr. Thompson, a Michigan resident, has recently filed a property damage claim with his insurance company after a fire destroyed part of his home. His policy includes a replacement cost provision for his property. During the claims investigation, the insurance adjuster determines that the fire damage was partially caused by an electrical fault, which is covered under the policy. However, Mr. Thompson's home had an outdated electrical system, and the adjuster finds no evidence of recent updates. Based on this information, what should the adjuster primarily focus on during the next steps of the claim process? A. Reducing the settlement amount due to the outdated electrical system. B. Ensuring that the repair estimate includes only the damaged areas as per the policy's coverage for fire. C. Confirming the electrical fault as the primary cause of the fire, based on policy terms for covered risks. D. Advising Mr. Thompson to seek legal action if the insurance company denies the claim due to the outdated system. Answer: C. Confirming the electrical fault as the primary cause of the fire, based on policy terms for covered risks. Explanation: the adjuster's primary responsibility is to verify whether the cause of the damage, in this case the electrical fault, is covered under the policy. While the outdated system may be a factor in the fire, the adjuster should focus on confirming whether the cause falls under the covered risks of the policy. Fire damage due to electrical fault. The insurance company is not required to cover outdated systems unless specifically stated in the policy, and Mr. Thompson should be compensated for the damage caused by the covered incident as long as it adheres to the replacement cost cause of his policy. Denial of the claim based solely on outdated systems is inappropriate if the fire itself is covered. Michigan's insurance regulations require clear and fair evaluations of claims, focusing on the terms of the policy for covered events. Question 2. Which of the following is a key requirement for an insurance adjuster to comply with Michigan's ethical standards when handling a claim for personal injury resulting from a car accident? A. The adjuster must immediately approve the claim if the police report indicates that the other party was at fault. B. The adjuster must ensure that all documentation provided by the insured is accurate and verified before processing the claim. C. The adjuster should provide an expedited settlement if the injured party has significant medical bills, regardless of the evidence. D. The adjuster must disregard any conflicting statements made by the claimant if the insurance company believes the claim is valid. Answer: B. The adjuster must ensure that all documentation provided by the insured is accurate and verified before processing the claim. Explanation: Michigan insurance law and ethical standards for claims adjusters stress the importance of accuracy and fairness in claim processing. Ensuring the accuracy of documentation provided by the insured is essential before processing any claim. This includes verifying medical records, police reports, and witness statements. Michigan's insurance code requires that claims adjusters act in good faith, performing a thorough investigation and ensuring that the information is verified. Adjusters should not approve claims without adequate evidence or ignore contradictory statements if they have implications on the claim's validity. Ethical practices include transparency, fairness, and due diligence. Question 3. Which of the following best explains the role of Michigan's no-fault insurance system in a claims adjuster's decision-making process when assessing an automobile accident involving injury and property damage? A. The adjuster is required to determine fault in the accident before processing medical claims, as Michigan's no-fault system does not apply to medical payments. B. The adjuster must first apply personal injury protection (PIP) benefits to the medical claims, regardless of fault, and may only consider property damage after medical claims are resolved. C. The adjuster must seek to minimize the total payout for both medical and property damage claims under no-fault regulations. D. The adjuster should only review medical claims if the injured party is not able to pay for their treatment, regardless of the fault of the accident. Answer: B. The adjuster must first apply personal injury protection (PIP) benefits to the medical claims, regardless of fault, and may only consider property damage after medical claims are resolved. Explanation: under Michigan's no-fault insurance system, personal injury protection (PIP) benefits are applied to medical expenses regardless of who is at fault in the accident. PIP covers medical expenses, lost wages, and other related expenses arising from an automobile accident. The no-fault system simplifies claims processing by removing the need to establish fault for medical claims. Once PIP benefits have been applied to the medical claims, the adjuster can then turn to property damage claims. This is a critical component of Michigan's insurance code and is designed to streamline claims and provide prompt compensation for medical care, reducing the burden on the parties involved in an accident. Question 4. When adjusting a property damage claim under Michigan law, the insurance adjuster must determine the value of the damage. What is the key difference between actual cash value (ACV) and replacement cost when evaluating the value of property damage? A. ACV accounts for depreciation, while replacement cost does not account for depreciation. B. ACV provides a higher payout than replacement cost, as it does not account for depreciation. C. Replacement cost considers the original value of the property, while ACV uses market value at the time of loss. D. ACV only applies to personal property claims, while replacement cost is for commercial property claims. Answer A. ACV accounts for depreciation, while replacement cost does not account for depreciation. Explanation: actual cash value (ACV) takes depreciation into account, meaning that the payout is the replacement cost of the damaged property minus depreciation. On the other hand, replacement cost pays out the amount necessary to replace the damaged property with a similar new item without considering depreciation. This is a key distinction that adjusters must be aware of when determining the payout amount under the policy. Understanding the method used in the policy for evaluating damage helps to ensure accurate settlements. In Michigan, the insurance code allows for either ACV or replacement cost coverage depending on the specific terms of the policy. Question 5. In Michigan, when an adjuster suspects that a claim may involve fraudulent activities, what is the first step the adjuster should take according to state regulations? A. The adjuster should immediately deny the claim to avoid further liability. B. The adjuster should gather evidence, report the suspected fraud to the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services (DIFS), and follow internal protocols for handling fraud. C. The adjuster should call the claimant directly and accuse them of fraud to gather more information. D. The adjuster should accept the claim as valid, as fraud cannot be proven without a legal investigation. Answer B. The adjuster should gather evidence, report the suspected fraud to the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services (DIFS), and follow internal protocols for handling fraud. Explanation: under Michigan law, if an adjuster suspects fraud, they are obligated to follow proper procedures, which include gathering evidence and reporting the suspected fraud to the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services (DIFS). Michigan's insurance code requires insurance professionals to act ethically and responsibly by reporting suspicious claims. The adjuster must not jump to conclusions or accuse the claimant directly, but instead follow the legal process for handling suspected fraud. Denying a claim outright without proper evidence or failing to report suspected fraud is a violation of ethical standards. Question 6. Mr. Williams, a homeowner in Michigan, is filing a claim for water damage due to a burst pipe. His homeowner's policy has a water damage exclusion for damages caused by flooding. However, there was no flood, only a burst pipe. What should the adjuster do to assess the claim appropriately? A. Deny the claim, as water damage is typically considered flooding under most insurance policies. B. Verify the cause of the damage and confirm that it was due to the burst pipe, which is a covered loss under the policy's standard provisions. C. Assume the damage is due to a flood, since water damage is commonly linked to floods. D. Advise Mr. Williams to contact the National Flood Insurance Program and FIP for assistance with the claim. Answer B. Verify the cause of the damage and confirm that it was due to the burst pipe, which is a covered loss under the policy's standard provisions. Explanation: the adjuster's first step should be to verify the cause of the water damage and ensure that it was the result of the burst pipe, not flooding. Since the policy contains a water damage exclusion for flooding, the adjuster must differentiate between flood-related damage and damage caused by a burst pipe, which is usually covered. Flooding and burst pipes are distinct incidents under most homeowners' insurance policies. The adjuster should review the specifics of the policy to determine whether the burst pipe damage falls within the terms of coverage. If confirmed, the adjuster can proceed with settlement negotiations under the applicable coverage. Question 7. What is the purpose of Michigan's no-fault insurance system in regard to personal injury protection, PEP benefits, and how does this impact an adjuster's handling of claims for auto accidents? A. PIP benefits only cover medical expenses for the at-fault driver, and the adjuster must determine who was at fault before proceeding. B. PIP benefits provide coverage for medical expenses, lost wages, and other expenses regardless of fault, so the adjuster focuses on verifying these costs. C. PIP benefits are meant only for repair costs, not medical claims, which the adjuster must first assess based on liability. D. PIP benefits cover both property damage and bodily injury claims, so the adjuster can address both areas simultaneously. Answer: B. PIP benefits provide coverage for medical expenses, lost wages, and other expenses regardless of fault, so the adjuster focuses on verifying these costs. Explanation. Under Michigan's no-fault insurance system, personal injury protection (PIP) benefits are designed to cover medical expenses, lost wages, and other necessary expenses resulting from an automobile accident, regardless of who is at fault. As a result, the adjuster does not need to determine fault when handling claims for medical or wage loss benefits, but instead verifies the appropriate costs covered under the policy. This is one of the most important elements of the no-fault system, as it provides immediate compensation without requiring fault determination. The adjuster's role is to ensure that the costs are within the PIP coverage limits and aligned with the policy terms. Question 8. Which of the following best describes the process an adjuster should follow when determining liability in a workers' compensation claim in Michigan? A. The adjuster must determine the fault of the employee before proceeding with the claim, as Michigan workers' compensation laws follow a strict liability model. B. The adjuster must evaluate whether the employee's injury occurred within the scope of employment, ensuring that the injury arose out of and in the course of the work-related duties. C. The adjuster is not responsible for determining liability in a workers' compensation claim, as this is handled by the employer's legal team. D. The adjuster should deny the claim if the employee was engaging in non-work-related activities at the time of the injury. Answer. B. The adjuster must evaluate whether the employee's injury occurred within the scope of employment, ensuring that the injury arose out of and in the course of the work-related duties. Explanation. Michigan workers' compensation laws operate under a strict liability system, meaning that fault is not a determining factor in compensation for work-related injuries. Instead, the adjuster must assess whether the injury occurred within the scope of employment, meaning that the injury must have arisen out of and in the course of the employee's duties at work. The adjuster is responsible for confirming that the injury meets the requirements for workers' compensation under Michigan law, which covers employees for workplace injuries regardless of fault. Non-work-related activities would not be covered under workers' compensation claims. Question 9. When an insurance adjuster in Michigan is assessing a claim for property damage following a natural disaster, which of the following is a crucial factor in determining coverage under the policy? A. The adjuster must verify that the property was damaged due to the disaster and not due to normal wear and tear. B. The adjuster should consider if the property was underinsured due to an outdated policy valuation at the time of the disaster. C. The adjuster must ensure that the disaster meets the definition of a covered peril under the insured's property policy. D. The adjuster is required to offer immediate settlement payments to avoid penalties under Michigan law. Answer. C. The adjuster must ensure that the disaster meets the definition of a covered peril under the insured's property policy. Explanation. One of the first steps in assessing a property damage claim following a natural disaster is to confirm that the disaster meets the definition of a covered peril under the insured's policy. A covered peril is a specific event, such as a flood, fire, or earthquake, that is included in the insurance policy's terms. If the disaster is not defined as a covered peril, the claim may not be eligible for coverage, regardless of the amount of damage caused. Michigan's insurance code mandates that adjusters thoroughly review the policy to verify that the event qualifies for compensation. This ensures that claims are handled appropriately and within the bounds of the policy's coverage. Question 10. Which of the following best describes the role of an adjuster when negotiating a claim settlement under Michigan's laws? The adjuster must always offer the lowest settlement to limit the insurer's liability, regardless of the claimant's needs. B. The adjuster is responsible for facilitating a fair settlement by assessing the full extent of the damages and negotiating a reasonable amount in accordance with the policy limits. C. The adjuster is responsible for making the final settlement offer, which must be accepted by the claimant without negotiation. D. The adjuster must propose a settlement based on the claimant's personal circumstances, even if it exceeds the policy limits. Answer. B. The adjuster is responsible for facilitating a fair settlement by assessing the full extent of the damages and negotiating a reasonable amount in accordance with the policy limits. Explanation. The primary role of the adjuster in settlement negotiations is to ensure that the claimant receives a fair settlement based on the extent of the damages within the policy's coverage limits. This requires the adjuster to assess the damages accurately, taking into account all relevant factors such as repair costs, replacement costs, and other applicable expenses. The adjuster then negotiates a settlement that is reasonable and fair, ensuring that it aligns with the terms of the insurance policy. While the adjuster does not necessarily have the final say on the settlement offer, they play a key role in ensuring that the offer is within the policy's limits and reflects the actual damages. The goal is not to minimize the payout for the insurer at the expense of the claimant's fair compensation, but to reach a reasonable settlement that respects both the policy terms and the claimant's legitimate needs. Question 11. In a Michigan auto insurance claim, an insured is seeking reimbursement for damages caused by an accident. The policy has a $500 deductible. After reviewing the damages, the adjuster determines the total damage as $2,500. What is the amount the insured will receive from the insurance company? A. $2,000. B. $2,500. C. $500. D. $2,000 minus any applicable penalties. Answer A. $2,000. Explanation. In this case, the insured's deductible of $500 will be subtracted from the total damages of $2,500. The amount payable by the insurer would be $2,500. $500 equals $2,000. The deductible is the amount the insured must pay out of pocket before the insurer contributes toward the claim. Question 12. A Michigan homeowner's insurance policy includes both structure coverage and contents coverage. If fire damages both the house structure and the personal belongings inside, how should the adjuster calculate the total claim amount? A. The adjuster will combine the structure coverage and contents coverage and then apply depreciation to both. B. The adjuster will first calculate the structure damage, then calculate the contents loss and apply depreciation separately to both. C. The adjuster only considers the structure loss as contents loss is not covered under the policy. D. The adjuster should calculate the contents loss but exclude the structure loss as it is covered separately under the policy. Answer B. The adjuster will first calculate the structure damage, then calculate the contents loss and apply depreciation separately to both. Explanation. The adjuster must calculate the damages to both the structure and the contents separately, applying depreciation as required by the terms of the policy. Typically, the structure is covered for the full replacement cost or actual cash value, while the contents may be subject to depreciation. Both types of damages are considered separately to determine the appropriate payout based on the specific terms of the homeowner's policy. Question 13. In Michigan, if a claimant is dissatisfied with the amount offered by the insurance company, which of the following options is available to the claimant? A. The claimant can automatically file a lawsuit against the insurer without further proceedings. B. The claimant must request a second opinion from another adjuster within the same insurance company. C. The claimant can appeal the decision to the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services, DIFS. D. The claimant must settle the claim or accept the settlement offered by the adjuster. Answer. C. The claimant can appeal the decision to the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services, DIFS. Explanation. If the claimant is dissatisfied with the insurer's offer, they have the right to appeal the decision to the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services, DIFS. DIFS oversees insurance practices and can intervene in disputes between insurers and claimants. Laws in Michigan ensure that insurance companies act in good faith, and the department can assist in resolving issues related to unfair claims practices. Question 14. Which of the following best describes how Michigan's no-fault auto insurance system handles personal injury protection? PIP coverage. A PIP only covers medical expenses and does not apply to lost wages. B. PIP covers both medical expenses and lost wages, regardless of who was at fault in the accident. C. PIP only covers expenses for accidents that occur within Michigan. D. PIP does not cover medical expenses, but includes other costs like vehicle repairs. Answer. B. PIP covers both medical expenses and lost wages, regardless of who was at fault in the accident. Explanation. Under Michigan's no-fault auto insurance system, personal injury protection, PIP provides coverage for medical expenses and lost wages resulting from an accident, regardless of who was at fault. This is a fundamental feature of Michigan's no-fault insurance system, which aims to provide prompt compensation to individuals injured in auto accidents without the need for fault determination. Question 15. Mr. Howard has filed a claim for his stolen car under his auto insurance policy. His insurer refuses to cover the claim, citing the policy's exclusion for theft under certain conditions. Which of the following is the most likely reason for the insurer's denial? A. The car was not properly insured under the policy. B. The car was left unlocked and unattended in a high crime area. C. The car had been in an accident prior to the theft. D. The car's value exceeded the policy limits for theft coverage. Answer. B. The car was left unlocked and unattended in a high crime area. Explanation. Insurance policies often have exclusions for theft if the insured vehicle was left in a vulnerable situation such as being unlocked and unattended in a high-crime area. This condition is considered a failure of the insured to take reasonable precautions to prevent the loss, which may result in a denial of the claim based on policy exclusions. Question 16. A Michigan adjuster must adhere to specific ethical standards when processing claims. Which of the following actions would most likely be considered an unethical practice? A. Offering a quick settlement to avoid legal fees even if the amount is fair. B. Offering a settlement amount that is below the full value of the claim to avoid high payouts. C. Recommending that the claimant seek legal counsel for assistance in negotiating the settlement. D. Providing the claimant with a breakdown of how the settlement amount was calculated. Answer. B. Offering a settlement amount that is below the full value of the claim to avoid high payouts. Explanation. Offering a settlement amount that is deliberately lower than the full value of the claim to minimize the insurer's payout is considered unethical. Adjusters have a responsibility to assess claims accurately and fairly, ensuring that claimants receive compensation that is in line with the damages, policy terms, and legal requirements. This type of practice is considered an example of unfair claims handling and could result in regulatory penalties for the adjuster and the insurer. Question 17. When handling workers' compensation claims in Michigan, what is the adjuster's primary responsibility? A. To prevent any claims from being paid by finding any possible exclusions. B. To ensure that the workers' compensation benefits are paid according to the injured worker's needs and eligibility under Michigan's Workers' Compensation Act. C. To determine whether the worker's injury was due to their negligence or employer's fault. D. To oversee the worker's medical treatment and ensure that only the cheapest medical provider is used. Answer. B. To ensure that the worker's compensation benefits are paid according to the injured worker's needs and eligibility under Michigan's Workers' Compensation Act. Explanation. The adjuster's role in workers' compensation claims is to ensure that the injured worker receives the appropriate benefits, including medical treatment and wage loss benefits, according to the Michigan Workers' Compensation Act. This involves assessing the worker's eligibility, the extent of the injury, and coordinating payment of benefits. The adjuster must also comply with the Act's rules and regulations while ensuring fair treatment. Question 18. Which of the following is a key requirement for adjusting claims under Michigan's no-fault insurance system? A. Claims must be resolved within 30 days of being filed. B. Adjusters must determine fault before making any payments to injured parties. C. Personal injury protection (PIP) benefits must be paid regardless of fault in an accident. D. Claims cannot be denied if the claimant has a history of prior claims. Answer. C. Personal injury protection (PIP) benefits must be paid regardless of fault in an accident. Explanation. Michigan's no-fault insurance system requires that personal injury protection (PIP) benefits be paid to injured parties regardless of who is at fault for the accident. This system aims to ensure that individuals receive timely compensation for medical expenses and lost wages without the need to establish fault. Question 19. Under Michigan law, what must an insurance adjuster do when they receive a claim for property damage that exceeds the policy's limits? A. The adjuster can deny the claim if the damage exceeds the policy limits. B. The adjuster must pay the maximum amount covered by the policy and inform the insured about the remaining liability. C. The adjuster is allowed to offer only partial payments to avoid exceeding the policy's limits. D. The adjuster must adjust the claim by offering the full amount, regardless of the policy limits. Answer. B. The adjuster must pay the maximum amount covered by the policy and inform the insured about the remaining liability. Explanation. When a claim exceeds the policy limit, the adjuster is required to pay out the maximum amount specified in the policy. The insured should be informed about the shortfall, as they may need to cover the remaining amount. The insurer's obligation is to pay up to the policy's coverage limit, and any amount above that is the responsibility of the insured. Question 20. A Michigan insurance adjuster is reviewing a claim for flood damage. Which of the following would most likely be excluded from coverage under a standard homeowner's insurance policy? A. Water damage caused by a broken pipe inside the house. B. Water damage caused by a river flooding after heavy rainfall. C. Water damage due to a leaking roof after a storm. D. Water damage from a malfunctioning dishwasher. Answer. B. Water damage caused by a river flooding after heavy rainfall. Explanation. Standard homeowners insurance policies typically exclude flood damage caused by rising waters, such as river flooding, under the policy's water damage exclusions. Flood damage usually requires separate flood insurance coverage. Water damage from A broken pipe, leaking roof, or malfunctioning appliance like a dishwasher is typically covered under a standard homeowners policy as long as the damage is not caused by a flood or other excluded peril. Question 21. In Michigan, if an insurance adjuster discovers that an insured intentionally caused damage to their own property to collect an insurance payout, what is the most likely consequence? A. The claim will be paid in full and no penalties will apply. B. The insured will face criminal charges and the claim will be denied. C. The insurer will pay a reduced claim amount, considering only the non-intentional damages. D. The claim will be processed normally but flagged for future audits. Answer. B. The insured will face criminal charges and the claim will be denied. Explanation. Intentional acts of fraud, such as deliberately causing damage to property to collect an insurance payout, are illegal. The insurer will deny the claim, and the insured could face criminal charges. Insurance fraud is a serious offense in Michigan and can result in legal penalties, including fines and imprisonment. Question 22. Which of the following types of claims is covered under Michigan's Personal Injury Protection (PIP) benefits in a no-fault auto insurance policy? A. Medical expenses and wage loss for the insured, regardless of fault. B. Damage to the insured's vehicle caused by a collision. C. Property damage caused to the other driver's vehicle in an accident. D. Legal defense fees if the insured is sued after a car accident. Answer. A. Medical expenses and wage loss for the insured, regardless of fault. Explanation. Under Michigan's no-fault auto insurance system, Personal Injury Protection (PIP) covers medical expenses and wage loss for the insured, regardless of who was at fault in the accident. PIP benefits are designed to provide immediate compensation for personal injuries, such as medical treatment and lost income, without the need to determine fault. Question 23. In Michigan, which of the following statements best describes the purpose of uninsured motorist coverage in an auto insurance policy? A. It provides coverage for damage to the insured's vehicle caused by an uninsured driver. B. It covers the cost of replacing the insured's vehicle in the event it is stolen. C. It pays for medical expenses and lost wages if the insured is injured by an uninsured driver. D. It covers only property damage caused by an uninsured driver, excluding bodily injury. Answer. C. It pays for medical expenses and lost wages if the insured is injured by an uninsured driver. Explanation. Uninsured motorist coverage is designed to provide compensation for medical expenses, lost wages, and other damages if the insured is injured in an accident caused by a driver who does not carry sufficient insurance. This coverage ensures that the insured is not left without compensation if the at-fault driver lacks insurance. Question 24. When handling a claim for water damage in Michigan, which of the following is likely to be covered under a standard homeowners insurance policy? A. Flooding caused by heavy rainfall. B. Water damage from a broken pipe inside the house. C. Sewer backup due to a storm. D. Water damage from rising waters during a hurricane. Answer. B. Water damage from a broken pipe inside the house. Explanation. A standard homeowners insurance policy typically covers water damage caused by sudden and accidental events such as a broken pipe inside the house. However, flood damage caused by rising waters, sewer backup, or damage related to a hurricane usually requires separate coverage, such as flood insurance or sewer backup coverage, which is not included in standard policies. Question 25. Under Michigan law, if an insurance adjuster is found to have acted in bad faith during the claims process, what is the likely outcome for the adjuster and the insurance company? A. The adjuster may face a fine or suspension, and the insurer could be required to pay additional compensation to the insured. B. The insurance company will automatically be required to pay the full claim amount, regardless of the policy terms. C. The adjuster will receive a warning and the insurer's financial penalty will be minimal. D. The adjuster will be immediately terminated and the insurance company will be exempt from any legal penalties. Answer A. The adjuster may face a fine or suspension and the insurer could be required to pay additional compensation to the insured. Explanation. When an insurance adjuster is found to have acted in bad faith, such as by delaying claims or offering inadequate settlements, they may face regulatory action, including fines or suspension of their license. Additionally, the insurance company could be required to pay additional compensation to the insured to make up for the unfair practices, as well as face potential penalties under Michigan's insurance laws. Question 26. If a Michigan insurance adjuster receives conflicting statements about an accident, what should be their next step? A. Accept the statement that favors the insured and proceed with the claim. B. Reject the claim entirely due to conflicting statements. C. Investigate further by gathering additional evidence or witness statements before making a decision. D. Automatically deny the claim if the statements are contradictory. Answer: C. Investigate further by gathering additional evidence or witness statements before making a decision. Explanation: when conflicting statements arise, the adjuster is required to investigate further. This may involve interviewing witnesses, reviewing police reports, and gathering additional documentation to help clarify the facts. The goal is to ensure a fair and accurate decision is made based on all available evidence. Question 27. A Michigan insurance adjuster is evaluating a claim for damage to a vehicle in a car accident. The vehicle's value is determined to be $12,000, but the insured's policy only covers up to $10,000 for vehicle repairs. How should the adjuster handle the claim? A. The adjuster will only pay the insured $10,000 as that is the policy's coverage limit. B. The adjuster will pay the full $12,000 and inform the insured that they must cover the remaining $2,000. C. The adjuster will deny the claim because the repair costs exceed the policy limits. D. The adjuster will negotiate with the repair shop to reduce the repair costs to match the policy's limit. Answer A. The adjuster will only pay the insured $10,000 as that is the policy's coverage limit. Explanation: the insurance policy's coverage limit determines the maximum amount the insurer will pay. In this case, the vehicle's repair costs exceed the policy's limit, so the adjuster is only required to pay up to the $10,000 limit. The insured is responsible for covering any remaining costs. Question 20. In Michigan, what is the role of an insurance adjuster when dealing with a claim for damage caused by a natural disaster, such as a tornado? A. The adjuster's role is to immediately deny the claim due to the catastrophic nature of the event. B. The adjuster must review the policy terms to determine if the specific event is covered and then assess the damage. C. The adjuster is required to pay the full claim amount without evaluating the damage. D. The adjuster must only provide temporary repairs to prevent further damage without settling the full claim. Answer B. The adjuster must review the policy terms to determine if the specific event is covered and then assess the damage. Explanation: in the case of natural disasters, the adjuster's role is to first determine whether the event is covered under the insured's policy. Once coverage is confirmed, the adjuster will assess the damage and begin processing the claim according to the terms of the policy. The adjuster must ensure that the claim is handled fairly and in accordance with the policy's provisions. Question 29. What is the primary purpose of an insurance adjuster's field inspection in Michigan? A. To determine whether the insured has committed fraud. B. To provide an initial estimate of damages and determine the necessary repairs. C. To enforce the insurance company's policies and procedures. D. To decide whether the claim will be paid regardless of the damages. Answer B. To provide an initial estimate of damages and determine the necessary repairs. Explanation: the primary purpose of an adjuster's field inspection is to assess the damage firsthand, provide an initial estimate of the repair costs, and determine the scope of the damages. This allows the adjuster to make an informed decision about the claim and ensure that the insurer pays the appropriate amount based on the policy's coverage. Question 30. Which of the following best describes the actual cash value perceived method of calculating property damage in Michigan? A. The ACV is the full replacement cost of the property, regardless of depreciation. B. The ACV is the cost to repair or replace the property minus depreciation. C. The ACV is based on the current market value of the property without considering repair costs. D. The ACV is determined by adding the original purchase price of the property to the repair costs. Answer B. The ACV is the cost to repair or replace the property minus depreciation. Explanation: actual cash value (ACV) is a method used to calculate the value of damaged property by factoring in depreciation. It reflects the current value of the property considering its age and condition at the time of the loss. This method is commonly used for property claims under many insurance policies.